चले मैं इंट्रोड्यूस करवा देती हूँ. हमारी नेक्स्ट स्पीकर हैं डॉक्टर सफ़ा जावेद, जो हमारी वो अप्लाइड साइकोलॉजिस्ट हैं और माशाल्लाह बहुत ज़बरदस्त पर्सनालिटी है. वो कुवैत में भी काम करती हैं और गल्फ में है, वो दुबई में भी उनके वहाँ पर भी वो सर्विसेज देती हैं. हमारे साथ आज मौजूद हैं. जी सफ़ा.
Basically clinical psychologist who I've been working in clinical setup for about 14 years, I would say. School setups में भी मैंने काम किया है as a counselor and as a clinical psychologist. School setup, I mean American and British system in Kuwait. मेरा age range है that is between 2 years and as long as the person lives, but in the schools it's from 2 to 21 years old. जिसमें especially बच्चे भी शामिल हैं और toddlers, you know, the ones who cannot even speak, but I have to guess from their body language what they want to say. So this was something for the audience to know that okay, in future, let's say if they have a child and they don't know where to go, I'm here, I'm available, and you can contact me anytime with my emails or my WhatsApp. Actually, one thing that Fawzia ji said, घर वालों के साथ टाइम गुजार लिया, ये भी अच्छे लोग हैं. This made me laugh a lot. I think इसीलिए मेरा Zoom चलना शुरू हो गया. अच्छा, हम आज बात कर रहे हैं regarding the corona. So basically, corona, any pandemic can be stressful. It's not only about corona. The only thing is coping with stress in a positive way, in a healthy way is very important. हम लोग panic कर जाते हैं, which causes the damage to the immunity and in the system itself. अब सबसे पहले तो I would let you know what does a pandemic causes, kind of, rather it आ चुके हैं or the recent one. Pandemic basically जब आता है, it causes anxiety of the unknown, little or no knowledge about the breakage of the infectious diseases. Uncertainty आ जाती है लोगों में. There is an increased level of stress because उनको समझ नहीं आ रही होती क्या हो रहा है हमारे आसपास. There is an increased level of fear, which means fear and fear of dying, yourself or your loved ones, आपकी family में. So there is an increased level of fear which is related to dying, which is related to death itself. और ये सबसे जो है ना, I would say डरावना किस्म का fear है out of all the fears. Sleep or eating patterns are disturbed a lot. As I heard with one of my fellow, she was saying इसकी वजह से भी बहुत सारा जो है ना स्ट्रेस एलिवेट हो जाता है. साथ हैं chronic health diseases हैं, वो एलिवेट हो जाती हैं, they get worse. कोई अगर किसी को अलार्म करे पहले से कोई mental health issues हैं, they get worse with the pandemics. अब ये तो था जो pandemic cause करता है. अब quarantine क्या cause करता है? I was talking about what does pandemic cause and what does quarantine cause. So pandemic जो चीजें cause करती हैं वो मैंने बताई. अब जो quarantine चीजें cause करती है, that is a lot of frustration, a lot of anger in people because they are being isolated or they are being aloof by their own choice. Irritability is one of the things जो बहुत ज़्यादा आ जाती है लोगों में, and it has no, I would say, limit. इंसान किसी भी हद तक चिड़चिड़ा हो सकता है to an extent where they decide to break things. इस हद तक भी लोग चिड़चिड़े हो जाते हैं. Depression is one of the other things. Depression could range from mild to moderate to severe, any range. Depression की भी there is no range. Panic behaviors is one of the other things, which means there is an increased level of anxiety. अब जब anxiety बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाएगी, there will be an increase in the anxiety. Obviously, people will start panicking. Anxiety आती है pandemic से, but people panic when they are quarantined. That's where they start panicking. And when people panic, they are hopeless, they are helpless, they don't know what to do. Then that's the time when they need to go to see a therapist or a psychologist. But होता क्या है, जैसे अभी कोरोना में हो रहा है, there is nobody available online. You have to wait for the appointments, and there is absolutely no way that anybody would see you in person. कोई appointments ही नहीं है ना, कोई therapist available ही नहीं है in person. इससे panic और बढ़ जाता है in the community. What else quarantine may cause? Insomnia. लोगों की नींदें खराब हो जाती हैं. Eating habits, they are बिल्कुल upside down. I am going to talk about children and teens in general because I want to basically let you all know कि बच्चों के जो behaviors हैं, they deteriorate with so many factors, but the only thing that we label them or we tag them is बड़ा ही बदतमीज बच्चा, बात ही नहीं सुनता, इसको तो असर ही नहीं होता, you know, those kind of things. But that's not something that has to do with the child. It has to do with the atmosphere that you're providing the child. Being a student can be sometimes very challenging, even aam halat mein bhi, when there is I would say normal just say situations thi pehle. Being a student can be challenging for so many students, but is pandemic ne basically life ko jaise mushkil kar diya. Education has gone even, you know, far beyond that. Education is very difficult now. Ab wo bachche jo school jate the, they had a schedule, they had activities, they had like everything jam packed schedule है. अब क्या हो रहा है? There's no school. Absolutely, they're exhausted because of the games, or you know, sleeping or eating. But it's not of exhaustion जो उनको तब मिलती थी जब वो स्कूल में होते. So basically, there is no exhausted body, there is no exhausted mind. इस वजह से there is an increase in the learning difficulty, or I would say the learning disorder children. LD पहले ही बहुत ज़्यादा था, especially Kuwait में, because it's a multilingual country, and people tend to focus not on their I would say home language. They tend to focus on other languages, which causes learning disability even worse. लेकिन अभी क्या हो रहा है, because kids are not going to school, वो बच्चे जिनको ज़्यादा attention चाहिए होती थी, they are lacking behind in so many areas. एक बच्चे को मैथ नहीं आता था, the teacher is giving her extra attention. अब वो extra attention कहाँ से मिलेगी? It's not available anywhere. It's not available in online classes. It's not available at home. Tutor नहीं है. Things are getting worse. बच्चों में frustration बढ़ रही है, just like the older you know, people, adults. LD के साथ attention deficit जो behaviors हैं, उसमें भी there has been increase. अब LD रिपोर्ट नहीं हो रही because बच्चे स्कूल नहीं जा रहे, लेकिन attention deficit रिपोर्ट हो रही है because the kids have been really hyperactive. माँ बाप को समझ नहीं आती इनके साथ क्या करना है, और अब माँ बाप उन टीचर्स को दुआएं देते हैं जो सारा दिन उनके बच्चों को अपने घर अपने स्कूल में रखते हैं, and they kind of tend to raise their kids, not teach them. अब this is all about when the kid is not going to school, when the kid is not getting attention. Attention deficit related symptoms जो हैं, they are actually related to quarantine, I would say, not going to school. जैसे कुछ बच्चे जो attention deficit होते हैं, they need visual reminders from the teacher. या let's say teacher उनको next जो है ना front desk पे बिठा लेते हैं अपने पास. अब वो क्या करें? ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में तो ये अवेलेबिलिटी नहीं है, ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में तो विजुअल रिमाइंडर्स भी नहीं है. कुछ अटेंशन डेफिसिट बच्चे जो हैं, दे नीड अटेंशन ब्रेक्स. अब अटेंशन ब्रेक्स तो मिल नहीं सकती बच्चों को बिकॉज द टाइम लिमिट फॉर द ऑनलाइन क्लास इज वेरी लिमिटेड. अच्छा, एक तो ये हो गया, दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू स्कूल. Secondly, there is no socialization at all. Same age group के बच्चे जो है ना, they have a different, you know, setup of peers. अगर बच्चा अपने peer group में involved नहीं है, that is again not okay for his health. They talk out, they burn their energy. अब वो same age के बच्चे हैं, they have similar activities. जब बच्चे को वो availability नहीं मिल रही है, that is another way of frustration. It causes depression in the child. अब बच्चा ऑनलाइन या व्हाट्सएप पे या सोशल मीडिया पे कितना भी अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ जो है ना वो इन टच रहे, दिस इज नॉट लाइक गोइंग आउट एंड प्लेइंग फुटबॉल. आउटडोर एक्टिविटीज नहीं है, फुटबॉल नहीं है, स्विमिंग नहीं है, रेसेस नहीं है. सो ऑल ऑफ दिस इज कॉजिंग अ लॉट ऑफ इश्यूज इन. लिस्ट डाउन कर दूं, बिकॉज हर बच्चा, हर टीन एज same, I would say, not in the same way. They don't react in the same way. They don't respond to stress in the same way. अब कुछ बच्चे जो है ना introvert होते हैं, some of them are extrovert, some of them are very expressive, some are not. अब इसमें if you see your child crying excessively without any reason, or you notice ये बच्चा ऐसे तो नहीं होता था पहले, तो or the child is very irritable for any reason, this is a symptom. This is one of the things that you should be concerned about. If the child is returning to the behaviors they have outgrown, just say let's say toilet training, let's say thumb sucking, अगर एक बच्चा इन सब चीज़ों से outgrow कर चुका है लेकिन दोबारा उसने ये सब शुरू कर लिया है, which means the child is seeking a lot of attention. The child is crying for attention. And this is one of the other signs of a child who is getting depressed. Excessive worry, excessive sadness, unhealthy behaviors, unhealthy habits बच्चा develop करने लगे. This is one of the biggest concerns. And especially during this corona, अगर आप लोगों को अपने बच्चों में इस तरह के कोई symptoms नजर आते हैं, you need to seek help. You cannot just ignore those symptoms. अगर poor academic performance है, it's okay. But if there is consistent poor academic performance, then yes, this is a big problem. मैं कह रही थी कि अगर poor performance है academically तो it's okay, but अगर consistent poor academic performance है और पहले बच्चा ऐसा नहीं करता था, this is one of the concerns that you should not ignore about the child. अगर avoidance of behaviors है, especially those activities जो बच्चे पहले enjoy करते थे, they used to love to do those things, but अभी नहीं करना, मुझे नहीं जाना, I don't want to see that friend, I don't want to do this. अगर आपको avoidance behaviors नजर आ रहे हैं अपने बच्चों में, this is another concern. You should be concerned about these things. These are all of those things that eventually cause a child either they are categorized into anxiety or they get depressed because of all of this pandemic that is going on. अगर somatoform symptoms नजर आते हैं, somatoform symptoms I mean to say, let's say unexplained body pain, मुझे तो बड़ा दर्द हो रहा है आज, मैं तो उठ के जा ही नहीं सकता, मेरी टांगों में दर्द हो रहा है, स्टमक एक हो रहा है, हेडेक हो रहा है, सर दर्द हो रहा है, आज ऑनलाइन क्लास नहीं लेनी. If your child was not doing all of this before, then this is a concern. Or some of the teenagers, I would say, starts tobacco use, cigarette पीना शुरू कर दिया, alcohol, the kind of drugs, and all of this is very much available in Korea. अब ये तो बात हो गई बच्चे are not going to school and this is causing a lot of depression in them and the behavior is deteriorating, they get aggressive, there is a lot of increase in the violence behaviors because उनको समझ नहीं आती क्या करना है, उनको ये. Let me tell you about जब बच्चा स्कूल नहीं जा रहा, this is what is being caused. अब बच्चा स्कूल नहीं जा रहा, what is he doing? अब क्या करेगा वो बच्चा जब स्कूल नहीं जा रहा? तो what are the best activities to stay at home and what could be the worst activities that he could do? अब एक जो सिंपल बात है जो हमारे समझ में आती है वो ये है, सुबह स्कूल नहीं जाना, चलो 1 बजे उठेंगे, चलो 12 बजे उठेंगे, सोने की और जागने की रूटीन तो खुद ही चेंज होगी ना ऑटोमेटिकली क्योंकि स्कूल नहीं जाना. अब खाने पीने की भी रूटीन चेंज होगी क्योंकि स्कूल नहीं जाना. जो ब्रेकफास्ट हुआ करता था वो अब खाना होता है या शायद 4 बजे खाना होता है, इट्स द लेट लंच. अब जब बच्चा दोपहर में उठ रहा है, the whole system is being disturbed. Sleep and eat is one of the basic things जो we focus on. If I have a client with anxiety or depression, the first thing I tell them to do is कि घर जाओ और अपना sleep और eating pattern ठीक करके वापस आओ. I cannot help you without this. I cannot. Absolutely. This is naturally अल्लाह ताला का बनाया हुआ system है. If we are not following this, I cannot. No psychologist can help you. और हम स्पेशली एडल्ट्स प्लस तक हम खुद अपना सारा सिस्टम अब उल्टा कर रहे हैं बिकॉज स्कूल नहीं जाना, कोई ज़रूरत ही नहीं है सुबह 6 बजे उठने की. दिस इज़ रॉन्ग. दिस इज़ वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट आई वुड इंसिस्ट टू द पेरेंट्स कि आप अपने बच्चों का स्केड्यूल उसी तरह रखें जैसे पहले था. The other thing is what else could the kids do? अब बच्चों के पास और घर में करने को तो कुछ है नहीं है, so either they will watch movies or they will plug in some videos, video games or YouTube at worst, I would say at worst. YouTube. But the point is, who is checking on the kids when the kids are watching YouTube? There is a lot of age appropriate stuff for them, and there is a lot of non-age appropriate stuff for them. But unko watch karne ke liye, who is there? I don't know if I'm cutting out. I don't know if my
No,
line
you're
is
not.
cutting out.
Naini, it's
Okay.
clear. We can hear you. Yeah.
With me, everything was black. I thought I just got cut out.
No, it's fine.
ठीक है. This is where my next segment comes in, where I would say how this whole pandemic has affected the marriages, you know, in a negative way, because the kids are there, but it's a responsibility of one parent. It's single parent responsibility. This is where the next issue comes in. Parents basically, you know, are these two people doing, you know, I would say nothing at home these days. They kabhi kabhi aisa hota hai ki mothers are either busy with, you know, relatives, or chalo drama dekh lete hain, chalo कहीं, you know, बुला लेते हैं घर में किसी को, और तो कहीं जाना नहीं है, चलो मिलके चाय पीते हैं, that kind of stuff, because it's like a releasing time for them. और तो, you know, as if like it's a summer vacation for them. But this is, I'm not talking about all men, and I'm not talking about all women. This is a general observation, I would say, or I would say this is a general reporting that I have had in the last 6 months. Most of the clients, most of the people who have contacted me had similar or, you know, concerns के हमारे घर में तो हिसाब किताब अब ऐसा हो गया है, ऐसा पहले नहीं था, उल्टा हो गया, I mean to say. So sometimes ये होता है कि mothers are just too busy. They are just too busy with खाना पका लिया, अब कपड़े धो लो कल के लिए, अब उनको इस्त्री भी कर लो, you know, household stuff इतना ज़्यादा है और जिम्मेदारियाँ इतनी ज़्यादा उन्होंने अपने पर डाली हुई हैं that they don't have time for kids. अगर कुछ थोड़ा सा time बच भी जाता है, little time by the end of the day, उनमें इतनी energy बचती नहीं है जिसमें you have the energy to raise a child, to take care of a child. उसमें बस इतनी energy होती है, अच्छा बेटा मेरे पास बैठ जाओ, मैं ड्रामा देख लेती हूँ, तुम कार्टून देख लो, बस let's sit together. No, that's not raising your child. You can cut out the house chores that you are doing. आप laundry कम कर दो, आप इस्त्री कम कर दो, आप खाना 2 दिन बाद पका लो, but do not neglect your child just because your husband needs food every day and fresh food चाहिए, you know, that kind of thing. Or you know, if this is a priority, your husband needs fresh food every day, okay, then you know कहीं और अपना compromise करें. But what we generally do is we compromise on children, which is not okay. अब parents में माँ तो ये सब कुछ कर रही है, where is the father during all of this time? अब कुछ fathers हैं during the COVID, they are working from home, वो घर बैठे हुए हैं, they are very much available. अब ऐसा भी excuse नहीं है कि मैं तो ऑफिस जाता हूँ, मैं तो 4 बजे वापस आता हूँ, you know, that kind of stuff. But what are they doing? They're trying to work. चलो ठीक है, सुबह ऑफिस का काम कर लिया, चलो let's say 8 to 10, 8 to 12, 2 o'clock ऑफिस का काम कर लिया. In the house atmosphere, अब उसमें fathers are also struggling, I would say, because उनको घर में office environment मिलता नहीं है. There's a lot of disturbance. बच्चे हैं, you know, और इतना कुछ है. They can't focus. When they're not able to do and input in their own work, जो उनका official work है, they get frustrated. वो irritable हो जाते हैं because they need their own concentration and time, जो उनको नहीं मिलता. बच्चे disturb करते हैं बहुत ज़्यादा. All of that frustration is going where? To the children. अब वो बच्चों को कमरे से बाहर निकाल देंगे, डांट डपट करके, चलो बच्चों निकलो यहाँ से बाहर. They are not accommodating them. They are actually making the things worse because बच्चे already आपसे ज़्यादा frustrated हैं with all of this pandemic. अगर आप बच्चों को accommodate करने के बजाय, उनको entertain करने के बजाय, you tell them to leave, that's making the things worse, I would say. Now, some of the parents, some of the fathers, I would say, that I have had complaints of a lot. When they finish their office work, they sit and think, अब क्या करें? टीवी देख लेते हैं. अच्छा जी चलो 3 घंटे टीवी देख लिया. अब क्या करूं? तो सब कुछ देख लिया. चलो अब मोबाइल फोन, चलो सोशल मीडिया, फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम, all of this, चलो जी अब वो भी कर लिया, शाम 5 बज गए, अब क्या करना है, चलो अब गेम्स खेल लेते हैं, So now my point is basically जो I would talk about जो online games damage कर रही हैं these days. Online games have caused more damage than anything in this pandemic. So these online games actually did the real actual damage during these 8-10 months to the relationships, marriages and kids. Had it been different situations, had people been wise, ये तो बड़ा bonus time था, men are staying at home, they get to spend time with families, बीवी को time दे सकते हैं, पास में नहीं दे पाए because of office workload, they could make up for the past, but how are you actually using this work from home time of yours? This is what matters. So most of the men have actually wasted it, I would say. And why I would say that is because instead of choosing what to do, they chose what they shouldn't have done. So they chose the online games, and it's not only men, it's even the teenager boys. So the games that they get into is Fortnite, PUBG, and so many other games. And there is the biggest problem with these games is the language that they are exposed to at an early age they shouldn't be. And the second thing is the violence that is going on in those games. And the third and the most important is the addiction that these games causes. These games are so addictive that the person does not even realize who is game addicted ho chuka hai. The game becomes your priority. The people in the game become your priority. The people living next to you, the people sitting next to you, the people living in the house, they don't mean anything. They don't even exist for you. As long as you are with the phone, the game is on, you're happy. This is the level of addiction जहाँ पे realization खत्म हो जाती है इंसान की. They get irritated. They get, I would say, anger-based behaviors in men have been reported because उनकी games disturb हो रही हैं. This is what is one of the major issues. अब kids neglect हो रहे हैं, house neglect हो रहे हैं, times are upside down, wife neglect हो रही है, that doesn't matter. All that matters is the game should go on because they have some criteria in the game that they have to fulfill and they have to really reach those goals. अब उनके लिए वो priority बन जाती है. This is not helping the relationships. This is not helping your marriages, what you're doing. अगर अब इसमें से दो तरह के लोग बाहर निकलते हैं जो gamers होते हैं. One who realize and the others who don't realize. अब जिन लोगों में तो realization नहीं होती है, they carry on a frustrated relation with their children, with their family, with their wives. Literally in April or May, there was a research, there was a survey that went on, and globally the divorce rate has gone from 27% to 61% just because of this one game that is called PUBG. I'm talking about a global divorce rate. I'm not talking about Pakistani community or Middle East. I'm talking about global divorce rate. जो सिर्फ एक game की वजह. So the other kind of men, what they can do is, yes, the men could actually choose non-addictive kind of games if they want to play once or twice a week, and that's enough for them. Raise your own kids. Don't leave it for the teacher or your wife. बच्चे तो दोनों के होते हैं ना. So raise your kids with your woman. Not, don't expect her to do this alone on herself. In the end, I would quickly just, wind it up before she comes back. I would give you a couple of recommendations. Create a family time, which means a meaningful activities. आप अपने बच्चों के साथ time spend करें with no devices at all, no TV at all. The age limit that most of the research centers have limited for the children is 5 years old, less than half an hour screen time per day. और हमें लगता है कि हम अगर 2 घंटे भी बच्चे को टीवी के आगे बिठा दें तो इट्स ओके फाइन, बच्चा ध्यान लगा हुआ है. द पॉइंट इज नॉट कि उसको ध्यान लगाना है, द पॉइंट इज इफ ही इज लर्निंग समथिंग और नॉट. So I would request limit the screen time for the kids. Play activities with them. Family time is very important. Let's do laundry together. Let's play in the water. चलो आज कुछ खाना पका लेते हैं. Let's bake something. Let's go out riding a bicycle. और तो मिल नहीं सकते, social distancing है. चलो ठीक है, चलो बाहर चलते हैं, बाबा के साथ साइकिल चला लेते हैं. और paint together. There are so many board games जो आप इकट्ठे खेल सकते हैं with the family. But the only thing is you have to choose between what you're doing now and what you have to do to raise your child, to raise your kids, you know, in a better way. Share एक और चीज जो parents कर सकते हैं, अगर बच्चे upset हो जाते हैं during this pandemic, they can tell them it's okay to be upset. लेकिन the way you express your anger is, you know, how you should think about it. आप अपना, जैसे अगर आपके पास कोई पॉजिटिव तरीका है स्ट्रेस को एक्सप्रेस करने का, आप वो बच्चों के साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं कि अच्छा मामा को जब टेंशन होती है मामा तो ऐसे करती हैं, या मामा को जब गुस्सा आता है मामा तो ये करती हैं. Why don't you try this? So if you tell your teenagers or your young little ones, especially the 3 years, 6 years, 7 years old, they will understand that this is appropriate and this is not appropriate. So you have to be the role model. Anybody else, you know, from outside, they are not going to come and help you with all of this. It's you yourself who have to raise your kids. And with this pandemic, you have to take your family forward. Nobody is going to come and hold your finger. बच्चे जो होते हैं ना, they love to beat their fathers, especially in games. हाँ मैंने तो हरा दिया, बाबा तो हार गए, मैं तो जीत गया. So if you start playing games with them, they would love it. Trust me. These are some things that you can do to actually fix the relationships that have been damaged. I think that is all that I would say. Secondly, with all of this pandemic, I would say reassure your child that they are safe. और बच्चे तब safe feel करते हैं when they have a schedule. They know this is the structure that we have to follow. Structure बच्चों को हमेशा security देता है. Give them a structure at home and give them reassurance that they are safe and nothing will happen to them. They will not have the fear. They will not panic. They will not get depressed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Safaa Javed, for your time. It was lovely. It was valuable. It was precious, your time and your talks.
Thank
and
you
we will
so
definitely,
much. Thank you.
Definitely, we are not going to leave you like that. अभी से ज़्यादा भी
I'm always
आपको फिर
available.
दोबारा हम करते रहेंगे तंग आपको. Thank you very much.